Greetings, YouTube. I've worked pretty hard to get this place. I don't really necessarily work very hard on the landscaping because I don't really care what my lawn looks like. Um, but I'm happy we have our apartment building, and it took a lot of work, and we put a lot of our time and money into making sure it gets maintained and all the official necessary parts and all the structural things. And I'm happy about that. It's still stressful. Having a mortgage is never fun. Um, but if someone were to come around and say, "Hey, my parents just, set me up so that when they're gone, I'm going to inherit the house," I'm not going to begrudge them that. Why? More power to you. If you didn't have to work hard for your house, I'm happy for you. All right? And I've never gone to college. I've educated myself to middling success. Um, so I've never had college loans. My wife does. So if they were to cancel college loans, it would benefit us. But she doesn't own that much at this point, and it's not crushing. It would be nice if it was gone. But canceling debt for all the people out there who have college loans would be a massive boost, and I'd be happy for those people, even though it has no effect on me directly and only a minor effect indirectly on our family. I would still be thrilled because we should never have had that debt. My wife should never have had to go into debt to get a college education. We should be covered kindergarten through college, all on the tax dime. In fact, I'd go a step further. I would outlaw for-profit schools. Period. For-profit schools simply cannot exist. And any school that isn't accredited doesn't get a single goddamn dime from tax money. Not a penny. You're not an accredited school? Well, people want to go there if they can. They want to get that piece of paper that's not worth anything. Cool. But we should be taking care of each other. So if somebody else suddenly had their debt wiped out, that's good for everybody. How am I going to begrudge them for that? And if you have paid off all your debt, why would you begrudge somebody else getting that burden taken off of them without having to give up blood, sweat, and tears? And some people say, well, they should join the military. So you're telling that we should have to put our lives at risk and following the illegal, often immoral, and unethical orders from our government to go out and kill people, most often brown and Muslim people in the world, just so that they can get an education? Doesn't that strike you as twisted? That you must put your life at risk to get an education? Why? We have the tax money available. We just mysteriously give it to billionaires. No. Cancel school loans. Wipe them out. Publicly fund schools. Get rid of for-profit schools entirely. Gone. Help us have an education system that isn't the laughing stock of the world. I knew a guy, this was back in the 80s. He paid for his school, his 4 years in college, by working at a lumber yard that made pallets. That's what he did. He worked it on vacations and over the holidays. And when he got out of college, not a dime of debt. You can't do that now. You cannot pay for your college. Even if you worked 40 hours a week, you cannot pay for your school. I think somebody worked it out. You'd have to work something like 140 something hours a week to get minimum wage to pay for like your average college education. There's only 168 hours in a week, I should point out. Yeah, you can't do today what was possible back in the 80s. When people joke about the fact that, people in the 80s got a college education for the cost of a McNugget, yeah, they're not far off. So all the people out there, all the older people in my cadre or older, who think it's well, why are they complaining about this? They shouldn't have taken those loans out. They want, how are they going to get an education without those loans? You browbeat them and told them how much they needed them, that they couldn't get through in life without college education. You beat that into the skull of your children, your grandchildren. And when they did it, and now they're saddled with $100, $200, $300,000 worth of debt, and they actually would like to get paid. Wow, you're all upset now. What do you mean you want to get paid more money? Isn't getting paid out of minimum wage or whatever good enough for you? No, it isn't good enough for them. It never was good enough for them. Remember, minimum wage was actually the minimum a single income family needed to provide all the monies, all the requirements for a family of 4 point something people, a house, college educations for the kids, and a retirement. That was what minimum wage did. The minimum you needed to live a decent life. What's it mean now? Nothing. It's a joke. Cancel school debt. Liberate people. One of the reasons they don't want to cancel is because one of the groups that would benefit the most are black people, specifically black women. And that would eradicate that debt, and that suddenly you would be helping them produce generational wealth, something that terrifies a whole lot of white people. The idea that their generational wealth would somehow be cheapened if their black friends and neighbors and coworkers also had generational wealth, that's some white supremacy right there, folks. That's the New England liberal type of racism. So no, be happy if someone doesn't have the same debt you've had. Be thrilled about it. Don't despite anybody for it. Don't think it's a bad thing if somebody suddenly has a debt taken off of their shoulders. Be glad that the people that you know, the people you live with and work with and you rub shoulders with every day, have a burden taken off those shoulders. Rejoice.